This morning, city staff started carting away items that are part of a long-standing encampment of unhoused people living in Allan Gardens. A spokesperson for the city says this is just one step in a more than a year-long outreach process.
Staff have been here every day helping people, trying to encourage them to go inside, providing referrals into shelter spaces. Of
the 9 encampments in the park, the city says all but 2 have accepted indoor spaces. The encampment has shrunk since summer 2023, when there were nearly 100 dwellings on the lawns. Since then, outreach workers say they have relocated nearly 400 people, including 100 residents, into housing. The city has been criticized by community workers and its own ombudsman for its handling of past encampments. Today's clearing took more of a collaborative approach, allowing residents to sort through belongings before they leave instead of forcing them out with nothing. And all of this is taking place just steps away from where we are. We are at Toronto Metropolitan University in the Garden District for a Your Community edition of City News. Now, often when we're called out to neighborhoods when there's a tragedy or a problem, but with Your Community, we aim to give you a more well-rounded look at Toronto life, including this one. The Garden District is known as the heart of Toronto, and it's right downtown from Queen Street, north to Carlton, from Yonge, east to Sherbourne. Landmarks include Toronto Metropolitan University, Allan Gardens, Massey Hall, and us at City News. Indigenous people have lived on this land for generations, and a community continues to this day, with services like Anishinaabe Health and the Native Women's Resource Center, to name a few. This area was once a wealthy neighborhood for settler families, though in recent decades, it's been home to workers and social housing, condos, and wealthier residents are moving in. We're revisiting the encampment clearings that happened at Allan Gardens Friday morning, just steps away from where we are at Toronto Metropolitan University. I had a chance to speak with Diana Chan McNally. She's a community advocate who works with people experiencing homelessness on a daily basis. And here's what she had to say about what happened.
I mean, it's egregious. We know that we don't have enough shelter space in the city of Toronto right now, and we also don't have available housing for people. So the fact that we're actually clearing out these encampments doesn't actually solve the problem of homelessness, but rather we are committing harm to people, and to people specifically who will have absolutely nowhere to go just for the sake of invisibilizing the problem. The trauma is very real, and it can actually be deadly.
What's your response to the city saying that they have stepped up the supports they're offering as part of the encampment clearing process, and what more do they need to do?
Well, even if they're stepping it up, they're now taking it away. We know that not everybody who's in Allan Gardens being evicted right now is actually getting shelter. And in fact, nobody is being housed, which is the permanent solution. As I said, shelters aren't necessarily safe. Do we know that process of actually offering shelter to people, is that coercive? It's hard to say. Is it really what people want? It never is. The thing that people want actually is housing. And what we see is that people who even enter into the shelter system, the majority of the time, if they're coming from an encampment, they actually return back outdoors.
Some in the neighborhood have argued that, well, this is a park for everybody, and we haven't been able to use that park because of encampments over the past couple of years. What's your response to those critics?
There is a difference between being uncomfortable and actually being unsafe. And in this case, you'll see lots of people every single day using Allan Gardens facilities. It's encampments, but it's also all kinds of people using that space. So to suggest that it's only one group and that they're forcing people out from using these facilities is not actually true. If we look at Allan Gardens specifically, and we look at Moss Park, we have the lowest age of death in all of the city in the Moss Park neighborhood, and that has a lot to do with the level of homelessness that we see.
Who's at fault, and what's missing here to finally tackle this issue?
So we're seeing all levels of government fail egregiously to actually honor people's human rights and treat them with compassion and care just as they deserve.
Welcome back to the Garden District. The City of Toronto moved to clear out encampments at Allan Gardens. So we went to City Hall to speak with Councillor Moise about the approach to date, as well as the concerns being raised by advocates.
Well, this has been in the works now for almost a year and a half, since June 2023. I've been a councillor for almost 2 years now, and when I started, Allan Gardens was the largest encampment in the city. We actually brought in a trailer in the park, and we had the housing staff there Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, to actually house people in the park. We've had a lot of great success. We will continue to work with them to encourage them to go indoors. And if not, then, we'll have to ask them to evict the park.
City staff and other officials are saying you're moving to indoor spaces. What's your response to those who say, well, the shelter system right now is not adequate?
Well, we've been trying to create as many housing as possible in the city. All hands on deck trying to do that. But that being said, though, we've engaged people in Allan Gardens on a daily basis to find them a place that they're comfortable with. We offer them multiple spaces across the city. And when there is a proper match with them, then, they will go indoors. Again, this has taken a long time to get to this point.
The resources at Allan Gardens are needed elsewhere. Would that not fall to City Council to boost that budget and boost the resources so staff can provide those enhanced services more to people who need it that can't be housed?
And those are conversations we continue to have at Council. I know that the mayor has committed to actually having more resources around staffing around encampments. I know that after this group of staff leaves Allan Garden, they will go elsewhere in the city.
It seems like there's been a delicate balance between trying to ensure everyone has access to the park to do leisure and that type of thing, with also recognizing that it's become a refuge for many who need housing.
To be honest, it's been difficult. It's taken a lot of resources, not only in my office, but in city staff as well. And a big piece of that is educating people along the way as to what we're doing, what we're trying to do, and what we have done.
We're going to have more on this situation at Allan Gardens at citynews.ca and City News 24/7. In the Garden District, Nick Westoll, City News.